Hello there, Flawless family. It is I, Tierra Walker, and welcome back to Flawless Living Made Simple, Winning Mindsets. Now, if you're just joining for this first time or this is your returning time to watch, this show is all about me interviewing those people that I admire from near and far. And today is no exception. I have the honor of having the amazing, the community servant, the wonderful mother, the sister to all, Miss Kezia Hendricks, live on the line, you guys, and we are about to get into it. This nonprofit leader and power broker throughout Hampton Roads is one to watch and one to know. Welcome, Keyzia. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, sis. How are you?
Oh, I am amazing. And like we were talking about before we got online, when I found out I could have an opportunity to interview you, I said, I don't care what's going on. I'm going to make it happen tonight. So we are back in my amazing kitchen decor. So if you watched our last episode, you guys know, like I told you, no matter where we film, it's going to be fly. So I definitely got you guys set up tonight. And Keyzia and I are about to get into it. So now, Keyzia, first of all, I let everyone know that you were a nonprofit leader. However, I met you through my soul sister friend, Sonia Phillips, right? The connector, right? She is the connector. And when I met, it's been at least, because Ayla was basically a baby when we met, right? Mm-hmm. So you figure that she was like 4 or 5, and then nature came right after. So I've known you now almost 10 years.
Wow.
I don't know if you realize that.
I don't. Wow.
I remember the first time that we truly connected was at that home that you guys had over in Norfolk.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So now Keyzia is the founder of the Young Investors Group. Keyzia, tell everybody a little bit about Young Investors.
Well, hey everybody, I am Keyzia Hendricks. Some know me by Keyzia Nicole, and I am the founder of Young Investors Group. Young Investors Group is a youth organization that teaches financial and technology to young people that are in low income and high crime zip codes. The first year, they had opportunity to sell their first home. Shout out to all of our founding youth investors.
Yes.
The second and the third year, they open up businesses, learn about the stock market. And just over time, like everybody else, the pandemic was a thing.
Yes.
And we had so many advances and transitions from teaching young people how to make money to how to manage their money and invest their money. So it's a process. And, there are, youth programs out there that just jump out there and teach young people investments off the rip. We found that the young people that really need to know the information, you just can't pour information on them. You have to build a relationship, and you have to make it real time for them. And if they're not making any money, it's really hard to teach the stock market outside of memorizing terminology.
Right. So, no, that's for sure. So now, thank you for telling everyone a little bit about Young Investors Group. However, this is your interview. So my question now, having introduced your baby, I want to know what informed you, what made you decide to take your time and create such an organization. Tell us more about you.
You know what? I think it was from the beginning. I think everybody has a purpose and a reason that they, begin their journey. And I think for me, it was when I was younger, I was that kid that wasn't the straight A student. I wasn't the kid that went to class all the time in high school.
Okay.
I had a rough background. I don't look like it. Well, I'm from the hood. Okay.
Certainly don't.
And, a lot of people don't know that, right? They see me now, but you didn't see me then. And I think that, growing up, and seeing my brother incarcerated at age 14, serving 15 years, was traumatizing to me. That led me into a life of making bad choices just to cope with the harsh reality of losing my brother, just being dysregulated, with just trying to find myself. And if it wasn't for the angels, because my mom, God rest her soul, was a mother of 12 children, and about a year and a half after my brother was incarcerated, I ended up pregnant at 15. So for me, that was a domino effect. And my mom was a single parent of 12 children, and she was already overwhelmed. So then I bring in one more baby on her. We ain't even gonna get into her reaction, but the point is she just was like, she couldn't take it. And so she picked up, moved to a different state, baby. And she was like, you and that baby got to figure it out. Okay. And so I made some decisions that I wasn't so proud of. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, of those angels, of those women who saw through my eyes and was like, let me just drop some help here and help there. Like, it was pieces. It wasn't one person. It wasn't a program. But if I had a program like Young Investors Group, it would have been a different story. Because I think for me, because of that level of abandonment with a child, I was just looking for someone to care. And I was looking for like a mother figure. I was looking for an organization. I was looking for a group of people to like see me and see my ambition. And I think God provided that in so many ways, for sure.
He always does. It's so interesting that you share that. Similarly, I also had those experiences where at a young age, I wasn't abandoned, right? However, the adults weren't present, right? And as a result of that, I was able to be blessed by the same thing, where God has always, always, always sent me women.
Yeah.
Always sent me women, always sent me sisters. Especially at that time, being 14, 15, needing guidance, needing to hear from someone older than you, better ways to do things, better choices.
And I wanted that. I didn't necessarily have people give me advice. I was homeless, right, with a child, and I was doing things that girls have to do to survive when you're on the street with a child. And if it wasn't for those women that would like bring me like hygiene things, and I've got a job at a child care facility. It was a nonprofit, which is right in alignment. My senior year. So my last 2 years, I pretty much couch surfed.
Okay.
With my child. I like my senior year, I was 17, and I was trying to find a job because at one point I went to a school called Health Special. It was a school for teen pregnancy, teen girls that were pregnant, and I couldn't take regular classes, so they would give me parenting classes. And so I was pretty much done my junior year of school because all of my classes were done. So by my senior year, I only had one class, and so I filled it up with like this work study type situation. And I was looking for a job, and then a lady by the name of Maria Webb, who was one of the angels, was like, she had came in, she had talked to the like work resource teacher, was like, hey, do you got any 18-year-olds that because she was trying to hire, it was a childcare facility, so she's trying to hire somebody at 18. And I was just pissed because wouldn't nobody hire me because I was 17. And I was like, what is it that a 17-year-old can't do that an 18-year-old can? And she looked over, she swung her head around, well, what can you do? She was like, well, what can you do? And I was like, I can do the same thing an 18-year-old do. So she ended up taking me, she ended up hiring me.
And
I couldn't do nothing but work in the office, which is how I learned the back end of nonprofit.
Okay.
Shout out to Braswell Child Development Center in Dallas, Texas, baby, because that's where I learned some of the things that I know now running Young Investors Group. Because I used to hear the stuff that she say, the stress. Like, she taught me things, but she more so taught me things by like me just watching. You know what I'm saying? But I do remember those days where like bro, like I wasn't taking baths. This is a 16-year-old mother who wasn't taking baths for real, and like I couldn't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like it was a real it was a she was an angel, and then it was this lady that I met, and this is the thing I miss about Texas because you really can't find it. I ain't been able to find it in Virginia yet, but it was a lady who she worked at the daycare that my daughter went to because I got childcare assistance because I was still in high school. So at least they provided that, which they don't do that here. But that's neither here nor there.
No, they do have childcare assistants here.
They didn't, baby. I ended up keeping that baby. But anyway, my granddaughter. But that's a whole nother. That's another subject
For another day.
For another day. So I was, of course, my daughter wasn't taking baths either. So like what the daycare lady used to do would she would give her a bath, and it was like a thrift store across the street. So she used to like bathe her and do her hair. So I learned how to do her hair. She taught, I would see how she would do it, and when I would come in to pick her up, she would be parting her hair, and I would just sit there and watch how she do it. And then later on, like that's how I learned how to do hair. So then fast forward, one of my substitute teachers, it was a guy, his name is Anthony Jones. Shout out to Anthony Jones. Mm-hmm. He had got his master's degree at East Texas State, which is HBCU in Texas, like an hour from Dallas. So it'd be like Richmond.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, you should go to college. I was like, college?
Right.
I'm just trying to eat, my nigga. Right. I'm just trying to, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying?
He's not what you was thinking about.
That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about eating, like, right? So he basically helped me like get into college. So he took a whole bunch of all his colleagues from college, and he got a whole bunch of women, and they like got like sheets and stuff for me to go to college. I didn't finish college because I didn't really have a support system, so I ended up having to take her to class with me. Then that got me kicked out of school. That's fast forward. But if it wasn't for him, he was another angel that said you should go to college, and so he had got me into this special program because my grades. Listen, y'all, I ain't even finna lie to you. My background in finances now, but ma'am, I didn't know how to like algebra. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of education gaps, as they call them now.
Right.
A lot of education gaps by the time I graduated high school. And so the college had this thing where, I think they have this at TCC, where you can like take the classes in the summertime to get caught up. So I ended up going through that.
Right.
But yeah, so it was just those different little angels. And there's a few more others that, I failed to mention, that it wasn't necessarily somebody mentored me per se, but my hierarchy of needs was real low, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have a lot of basic things. And so God literally dropped those things my way just so I could stay inspired. Right. But yeah, that all of that is what built up to
and so you're originally from Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
And so that is just like, I was not, you know what, y'all, I say this every show. So it is my honor to interview you, because when people come on this show, because they are so accustomed to helping others, they are not often sharing their stories. So for you to have the transparency to share this story, which is heartbreaking, okay? So it's like, that I'm in the house right now, and my daughters we wouldn't even be filming here at the house, but because both of us have the kids, we decided to do this later in the evening, and dinner is halfway kind of sort of done, right? The kids are around right now. So as I see them in the background trying to pass me notes and all these things, right? And I'm listening simultaneously to your story. And one of the reasons why I do not share my story is because I tell people all the time that there are so many people that have overcome so much more than anything similar to what I've been through, and that we all have a story. I would have never imagined that is where and what you've come from.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's what I be telling the boys. I be telling them, they be like, Miss K, they be trying to put slide stuff by me. I be like, yo, like, I know I look like this. Nigga, I'm from the hood. What? I know what y'all do. I know what that means. I know I look like real intelligent.
Right. And you know what? The crazy thing is that it's not even about like being well off now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about being situated now, right? It's not about having accomplished and are succeeding in your life now. No, the reason I wouldn't have imagined that is because the level of joy that you share with others.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I'm saying to you that I'm surprised, it's not because of how well you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you wouldn't be on the show if you wasn't doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be doing something. Like meaning this show is about people that I admire, right? So money is not the only thing that determines whether we're doing well.
Right.
What I'm saying is, it is the lack of bitterness. It's the care and the kindness. It's the willingness to sow into others, to sacrifice your time, to sacrifice your moments, to take your kids everywhere you go, to make sure that you're helping other people's kids, right? Those are the things that make the difference. Yeah. See, the reason that I wouldn't have thought that about you is because you are so filled with joy and love and compassion every time I see you, right? So I am shocked that in less than a 20-year span, 25-year span, that you could be so healed, so full, so amazed. Keyzia, I am seriously astounded. You're an overcomer. You're an overcomer. And what I mean, from that point, how in the world did you, so you start school,
start college,
go through that process. Okay, you did.
Yeah, went through that process. My mom kept my baby for 1 month. She had picked up and moved to California.
Okay.
And I had told her I was going to college, and I guess she felt guilty, so she was like, I'll keep the baby, you know, for 30 days. So she kept my daughter for 30 days. And she was able to keep her for that 1 month of like that remedial course. That's what it's called, a remedial course.
Yeah.
They gave me like a 30 days remedial course, and then if I did well, they were going to let me in school, because I had no intentions of going to college at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I get there, and I really don't have childcare. So in college, there was, you know, I'm out of high school. There was no childcare. So I ended up taking her to school like every day. I had like a bike. It was so funny. Like, I had this bike, right? And it had the little basket on the front.
Oh, so
front on the back. And I used to ride the bike, and I couldn't do that all the time, like when it rained and stuff like that. Sometimes I was pushing a stroller. Long story short, the first semester of the second year, I struggled because all of the teachers up until that point was, because my daughter was well behaved.
Right.
And they would let me bring her to class with me. And I used to feel like crap because it seemed like everybody else around me, no one else was bringing their kid to class. Right. No one else. And listen, we talked about this early. I started to feel in my shape, but I didn't have money for clothes. So my homegirl, who was like this small, used to let me take her old clothes, and I couldn't pull my pants all the way up.
Right.
To zip to button them because they were her size. I think she was like a size 4, and I was like 10. Right. So I'm like, pull them up, and I used to wear sweaters around my waist, and my hips were big. So when I would go to school on campus, they'd be like, oh, you know that girl? They used to call her Keyzia with that big, you know that girl cute? Like, they would be like the girl with that big old butt. Right. I used to wrap myself because I was embarrassed because I would take sweaters. Right. So like, just that whole experience was every day I woke up just struggling, like just trying to make it. And then it was like the last semester of the first semester, it was the end, and I was failing this one math class, and the math class was what I needed the most work in.
Right.
Because I was like the one step above college algebra. Mm-hmm. And the teacher, she was a white lady, prejudiced. Now I know what it was. I thought it was me. So I took it to heart. Right. She was like, you can't bring her to class no more. And I was like, how am I supposed to? She was like, you're failing the class and you can't bring her. And I was like, how am I supposed to? Because if I failed that class, they were going to make me
Go back.
Suspend me, and I knew if they suspend me, I was gonna have nowhere to live.
Right.
So, because that was my only way, to get have a place to live.
Right.
So like that sent me into a mad depression, and even though I was passing all those other classes, I just dropped out because I didn't know what to do. And then life.
And how old were you at that point?
I had to be like 20, 19. Yeah, I had to be 19.
Yep. And that's about the age. The same similar situation with me. My situation was in the Navy though, and I didn't have that. But it was very similar where you're at that age, that 19-20 threshold where you're grown but not grown, and you have no real like parent invested in you. So you are listening to the adults around you because you're not really fully understanding you're an adult to make your own decisions yet. So even though you're making decisions, you're not quite making decisions. And they did that's what the Navy similarly did to me. Like a lot of the decisions that I made as it applies to my time in the Navy, all because I didn't realize my own strength, right? I didn't realize my own power. Like, you know how so often we'll see where, they'll have a young black teen and they'll talk to them without the parents, like right? And it's like, but the mom doesn't know any better because she wasn't taught any better, and the child doesn't know any better because they don't know any better, right? And so a lot of that stuff, and so we have that in common, that now here in our lives we provide people with a lot of information. We do not gatekeep information. We share willingly and freely with anyone we can help because we know what was done to us, right? And so a lot of that does inform your later life, because I know that my circumstance with the Navy, had I even known the extent of my power and what I could do, it would have been a different result, right? In my experiences, right? And because I didn't know, it took 20 years to get to that result, right? So sometimes that's just, everybody has their own path. And for you to have been able to overcome that. So you get out of the college, you're not in college anymore. So how do we go from EC, Texas State, right? To now Virginia? What happened in that interim of, okay, I'm out of school, I didn't finish my degree, however, I've been depressed, now I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna keep pushing. What was that? What was that?
It was like, I think 2 kids later. Wait, I end up going back. One child later.
Okay.
Moved back home.
Okay.
To Dallas.
Okay.
Ended up on government housing.
Okay.
And the daycare that I worked at in high school, they were like, "Welcome back."
Right. Like,
you're an adult now.
We missed you.
Right. Look, let me tell you something. The reason why that substitute teacher, AJ, Anthony Jones, the reason why he saw me is because at one point I was trying to do the announcements and stuff like that because I wanted to be a newscaster. Like that's a job I wanted to do. Like that's what I wanted to be when I grew up or whatever. And that's what I ended up going to college for at the time, is like journalism and TV, radio, television. So when I got back, one of the things I used to do at the daycare that made me special was because the daycare was in the hood. Right. But I would go straight like European, right? I'd be like, "Hello, welcome to Roswell. Oh my gosh, would you like some water?" And it would blow like the funders. It would come in because it was a nonprofit, so the funders would come in and then they would see me and I would give them tours because the child care facility was so big. It was like nothing anybody had ever seen in that area, right? Because it had like a skate rink, a computer lab, like all that stuff was hot back in the day, like in 2011, right? 2006, 2000. certified.
The lab, yes.
Yes, a computer lab, right? I know that sounds crazy to people that, the younger generation. They be like, computer lab? We don't even use computer labs anymore.
Right, right. We don't have to.
It was like a skate rink in that jank. And so I would manage the skate rink because that was the revenue generating thing for the childcare with the childcare facility. So I would do tours. Like we had these huge, big, like playrooms, like gaming rooms and stuff like that. And so I would be like, hi, I'm going to give you a tour. And this is the class. And this is like I used to go the extra mile.
Right.
So they were happy to have me back because I was extremely professional.
Yes.
With the standard. And so, just working there, getting caught up in stuff, still my head in different places. But I feel like, I think for me, every time I got pregnant, because I'm a mother of 6, for those of you that don't know, I'm a mother of 6, grandmother of 1 at this point. Not at that point, but I'm saying now.
Right. Yeah.
But, I kept getting pregnant. So I said to myself, like, I can't, every time I would get pregnant, I would go to school. Like, that would be my trend. So I ended up going into a whole bunch of schools. I went to bartending school, medical assistant school. I was trying to figure it out. Early childhood education, all of that stuff. And getting to the point, I always had this vision. One of the things that when I was in Dallas, I used to see, like, when I moved to Virginia, I was like, yo, Black men work for the city? Because in Dallas, only Hispanics. Like everywhere in Texas, none of the Black men have like city jobs. Like they can't get a city job.
Wow.
So, there's a whole theory behind that or whatever, which is an accurate theory. But I used to say to myself, man, when I grow up and get in a better place, I'm gonna do a program for Black men, because I used to see these well-bodied Black men just walk the street all day. Like they didn't have no jobs, and I was just like, and I said, when my brother got out of jail, I want to be in position that like I can create an opportunity for it. So I made plans and did all this stuff, and doing the whole parent thing. I think at one point I was working at the daycare, going to school, wasn't real school, medical assistant school. That jank wasn't real, and I was working at a nightclub. As a bartender, because I went to bartending school. I saw the movie Coyote Ugly, and I said, my future.
Absolutely.
I thought dancing on top of the bar with the crop top on. I have some pictures I'll show you at another time.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Coyote. That was hot.
You gonna edit them jank in, you gonna put them janks in.
Right. I'm telling you, go ahead, send them on over so we can slide them up in here. Yes. Hey, look.
That was gonna be Coyote Ugly, child.
Yeah, she was working that thing. Did you make good money?
I made really good. I wasn't a drinker, so
but I'm talking about as a bartender, because I bartended, and as a matter of fact,
it was in the hood, so they used to steal the tip jars, honestly. So.
No, I know you lied. Oh no,
I ain't lying. The name of the club was called Nairobi, so I was pro Blacking. You know what I'm saying?
But no.
It was like it was Ultra Lounge, exactly like Ultra Lounge.
Okay.
Almost every night, used to steal our tip jars.
Oh no, ma'am. You wouldn't even. No, ma'am. No, I'm
talking about all of the bartenders. They would steal our tip jars.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that like I said, I have bartended before. In a lot of different environments, and even now, for the right money, I'll come set your bar up. You know what I'm saying? So for the right money, I will come set a bar up. Okay.
Listen, I went to school. Listen, I am a professor. I have a certificate.
Oh my God. You know what? That's so funny. I've been on one of those shows where they like feature bartenders around the world. Yeah. I've been on one of those shows. And what's so funny is that with bartending, one of the reasons that I really loved it is because you could make a lot of money in a short amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. So in my break of real estate from 2008 to about 2010, I bartended. And I was not playing by my tips, like, no ma'am. So
I wouldn't know until the end of the night.
I even bartended at the Wells Theater. So I bartended at the Wells Theater here in Norfolk, Virginia. And it's so funny because you know how
it was Coyote Ugly. That's what it was.
No, it wasn't. You had to have on your white shirt, your black slacks. However, they had very good tippers. And so for me, I really never had that issue, but in the rougher places that I bartended, I was always prepared. So let's just leave that at that, because if you know me then, if you know me now, I still don't play by my coins. So
well, we would never know who it was.
No,
like
you couldn't. No, you couldn't affect that because in
gone.
the club environment, you couldn't affect it. But I'm just saying, at the places that I always bartended, like we always had different ways that we would kind of, make sure that nobody was doing that. But I mostly really did, for real, more than anything else. I only did a couple of clubs. I used to bartend at a place called Mangoes. You remember Mangoes? I bartended there for a while. That was like 2008, 2009. Well, not 2008, 2009, 2010. And then everywhere else that I bartended, like I said, it was really kind of set up for me to win. So that's what I would say.
Dallas, South Dallas, where I'm from. Listen, when I tell you, it's like the Portsmouth, certain parts of Portsmouth are great. It's like the worst part of Portsmouth, the Dallas version, the Portsmouth version.
Y'all gonna lay off Portsmouth. Portsmouth is my favorite.
I'm talking about certain parts of Portsmouth. I'm not saying all of Portsmouth.
Right. No, I hear you.
The rough areas of Portsmouth, that's the way that South Dallas is. And it's a wild, wild west.
No, I hear you. And especially back then. I mean, but thank God we both were able to level out of that area of sales and get into better sales positions in our lives, because all that is sales. You know what I'm saying? All that is sales. But the only thing I was going to say about bartending was, for me, the reason why I would always, especially for the right money, go and set up a bar is because I love the idea of being a part of the party, but not of it. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's kind of how I live my life. Like, I like to participate with your group, but I'm not going to join it.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned.
I want to come in. I want to do my little thing. I come to all, your events, but I don't really want to be in your group. And so that's how it is with being a bartender. Because if you think about it, you're at the party and you in there, however, you don't got to get sweaty. You don't got to drink, right? And you still get to dance, because the whole time you back there, you just breaking it down, right? Mm-hmm. So I would just be able to just breaking it down, making the drinks, you know what I'm saying? So that was the best part for me. So that's why I like that, is to be able to observe the party, see the party, and not have to be in the party. So that's to me, that's the best thing about bartending, is that I got to party without being in the party, right? Yeah. So, and that was, so definitely, but no. So now you moved on from all of that stuff. You came to Virginia. And how many kids did you have at that point when you got here? 4. Okay, so the younger 2 are how old?
No, actually, no, 4. I had 3. My bad.
Okay, 3.
And then,
okay, and then the younger 3 are how old now?
11, 5, and 3.
Okay, so you got 3 is the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
But we are done now. Because your mom had 12. So with your mom having 12, where did you fall in that?
Top 5.
Okay, so you were in the top 5, and of the 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have 6. So are we done, or are we going to just fill in the hand?
Nah, we done.
No? Okay.
We done.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Factory shut down. I'm gonna focus more on building the community versus
absolutely. Okay. Well, I mean,
I don't need to birth the whole entire community. Okay,
well, you've done a good job thus far, we must say.
We're halfway there, but
you've done a good job thus far. So, what brought you here to Virginia anyway?
Military. My ex was in the Navy. Now,
okay.
Yes.
All right. So
I just stayed. Like, I ended up staying in the area, started getting invested in the community. Mm-hmm. That is really what made me transition. Shout out to Wells Fargo. They're not paying for ad space, but I really learned a lot with that company. It gave me my wings. It gave me the ability to invest in the community. I didn't really see many banks doing that.
Right.
I didn't see many banks allowing their employees to go to juvenile detention centers and teach. And it was mainly my manager, for real, but she represented Wells. And then I would go to different places, colleges, the Urban League, all those places, and just teach financial education. So, I mean, it gave me my opportunity to go out and educate people on finances. Before I went to Wales, I was a financial counselor for 4 years.
Okay.
Helping military service members with the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society. I don't know if you know about that program, because I know you said you were in the Navy.
Yeah, no, they didn't do nothing to help me. Yeah. Let's go skip over that.
But the Navy, FYI, now you know, they have a program called the Navy Marine Corps nonprofit Navy Marine Corps Relief Society.
Okay.
And my job was take military service members, sailors, that will be going through a financial hardship, and go over their whole entire life's budget and identify if they are able to take out an interest-free loan up to $600. The first one is $600. And then, like, if they couldn't afford it, after I assessed their whole, that process took like 4 hours.
Okay.
Roughly, because we would go over all of their bills, all of their income. Like, it would just be a whole entire, we would call the utility company, call the mortgage, call the rental place, and like try to identify ways. And so I would have to restructure their budget.
Okay.
In order to make them to be able to afford the loan.
Okay.
If I couldn't get it to afford, then it would turn into a grant.
Oh, wow.
Like we would have to do both the husband and wife. And so I did that for 4 years. And
wow,
that basically taught me underwriting.
How did you even get to that position?
So at the time, my ex was in the military and I couldn't have a job because there was so many kids.
Right.
And so youngest was a baby, and I was trying to find volunteer opportunities that could provide childcare, and that was the only volunteer opportunity that they provided childcare. So they gave childcare. So it was my way of getting away from the baby. It was I think I got to do something.
Right. No, I mean, I definitely understand that, but look at what it did. Look at what it created for you. And it's almost like with kids, the break is necessary, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that, you know, I've really greatly admired moms that can stay home, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had my periods of stay home throughout having my children too, right? So I know that staying home has its value.
Correct.
However, I do feel like in a modern society that in order to fully kind of embrace motherhood, you have to be able to have a break, right? Yeah. Whether that is your work, where you're just able to socialize or be socialized into an environment where you're not just watching Bluey and you're not just going over, you know, those things. Or if you're like a real worker like myself, where I know that with Elijah, with my oldest, I had a longer break. With my second daughter, I had no break. And then with my last daughter, I had a good break, right? So the first and last, I had a good break, but with the second one was no break. I literally had her, and within 2 weeks, I was back working online, right? So I was literally, and then had to start going back in the office after like 5 weeks. So it was such a quick turnaround. So I do know how much value is in, because you can love your kids and we've got to be able to fill ourselves up. We're still individuals, right?
Right.
And so having had kids for so long in your life, you definitely did well in finding that position. And again, it just seems like throughout your entire life that despite the harsh circumstances, that the universe, God, whomever it is that you believe in, or you as watchers are believing, actually continue to line you up on purpose to purpose, right?
And that's the thing, though, because some people, when they're in that position, it was a lot of military spouses, they would just be depressed, they would drink, they would party. And I'm like, for me, I wanted to do charity. Like, right. I was like, I'm gonna go and give my time to something, like, right. And you know, that's any of the listeners is like, I know different people go do different things, but like for me, I try to identify ways to improve others' lives, because that helps me take things into perspective. And I had a cousin one time, she was like, you know, tripping, going through a lot, and I was just like, you have to put yourself in positive environments, or less fortunate. Oh, sorry, you know, it's like I've been up since 3, child. That's but that's when I get all my work done. But you know, I was just explaining to her, you got to do positive things. So I always have given back to others when I was at my lowest moments, and it allowed me to like raise myself up, like right. emotionally. So
Well, you know what? I mean, and then do you think that that's something that was just naturally placed in you? Did somebody say that to you? Like, what made you? Because I mean, you think this with those type of circumstances, right? How did you even get your mind to be so selfless, right? And not to say, because of course when you were married and with your Navy husband, I mean, I know things were much more stable and all of that. So what made you say, you know what, not only am I going to create some balance, but I'm going to create some balance by helping and taking on other people's situations for my own? I mean, because I know you can't leave that stuff at home. I mean, leave that stuff at work. When you volunteer, that's one of the main jobs that you carry with you, especially helping people that need services.
For me, I've always kind of like moved like that. Like, what is that? It's called a chameleon. I don't know, some type of that adjusts.
Right.
For me, like I had a real hard upbringing.
Yes, ma'am.
The only thing, number one, my faith, God, like my faith is number one. Like I always had a commitment to Him.
Yes.
Right. And so I think what happened is that He put that in my heart to say, like, things could be worse.
Right.
Be a blessing to someone else. Like, I literally would just be grateful and thankful of where I was. That is literally, because people ask me, I've had somebody ask me before, how did you do it? Like, I think for me, I identified what was working and I focused on that. And it's so crazy because when I used to move, when I think about some of the dangerous environments that I'm in now, I would never want my children to like do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why these earrings say parents out the mud, got it out the mud. Listen, I got it out the mud, seriously, because like it was some really dangerous situations, sis. Like, man, and I'm like, how did I survive that? Nothing but the grace of God. Literally, angels.
I definitely understand. I mean, literally, like, I definitely understand and can resonate with that.
Yeah.
I say to myself, and I tell people all the time that growing up where I grew up, it was only God, like, and so I definitely get it. And so that's why it's so important for you to be kind of like on this show, because every episode we get different people's perspective on what makes them have a winning mindset. And what I've heard you say is that despite everything that's come against you, circumstances you could control and circumstances that you were ignorant in even knowing how to address, right? Mm-hmm. You kept an attitude of gratitude. And what I tell people all the time is gratitude is the magic sauce. When you're feeling your lowest, it's giving thanks that lifts you up. It's giving thanks that reminds you that you have breath to complain so you can use that breath to be thankful, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's just the ability to wake up and move. Even if on a day when all you can do is move your hands, brush your teeth, and stomp your feet, right? Because we've all had moments like that. We've all had moments where there was nowhere to go, nothing to do, and no money to do it. And just the gratefulness brings and attracts so much goodness that I believe that your blessings have been so multiplied by your willingness to give God thanks and to be thankful for your circumstance, even though it was hard, right?
But see, I couldn't even see that it was hard. It was more uncomfortable for me. Mm-hmm. Like now I look at it, I'm like, oh, that was hard. But when I was in it, God didn't let me. He shielded me from it being hard. And I was grace by grace, meaning that like I felt comfort in every blessing that I was provided for. So to some people, because they've been in better, so my standards were low, for lack of a better like example, in a good way, because I think I would have probably been in a really bad place if I would have known then what I know now. I probably would have went into a depression. But God shielded me from that viewpoint where I didn't even know how bad it was.
Right. I mean, that's ignorance. That's ignorance. I mean, and like they say,
Literally.
It's bliss, right? It's bliss. Because if you don't know better, I mean, how can you do better? Right? And so every time you were able to level up, God put in your path your purpose to bring you to this place.
Yeah, that's right.
Like you said with the earrings, Parents Out the Mud, tell people about your pod vlog talk show.
Yeah, my podcast, vlogcast, podcast, video, YouTube show, whatever y'all want to call it.
I know, right? It's hard to name it.
It's something so Parents Out the Mud is just highlighting parents and how they have emotionally overcame the challenges that go through parenthood, entrepreneurship. So parents that are entrepreneurs and they are parents, there is a moment where you are in a space where you either have to leave your job or you have to manage life,
right?
A relationship with your children,
right?
And still get it out the mud, still take your business to the next level. So that's what Parents Out the Mud is about, just sharing journeys and stories and inspiring others to, do the same.
Well, I tell you what, if you are watching and you've made it this far, then I know you need to like and subscribe. And not only do you need to like and subscribe here, you need to go over to Parents Out the Mud and like and subscribe over there and tap into those episodes, okay? Because the thing is, you guys, is that you watching only furthers the purpose. So you figure that, like I said, I'm talking to this woman that I greatly admire, and now my heart swells even greater to see how much impact you have in the community and the community's youth, on top of your own 6 children and your own grandbaby, and then to always have a smile on your face. I mean, and I know how hard that is, right? Meaning that for me, it's not as easy to pull that smile out, right? It's a real push. If I don't feel like smiling, ain't nothing to smile about, okay? However, you, on the other hand, despite what may happen, in that gratefulness, you're an example for me. You're an example for others, how no matter what you're facing, knowing that you can overcome it given your previous experience. Because I know for me, right, one of the biggest things is that, and one of the things that best kind of substantiates my confidence and my ability to do whatever I think, right, is a combination of knowing that God is always with me and that you don't get the idea if he didn't give it, right? And then also knowing all that I've survived, all that I've come through, right?
Yep.
And the other thing that I've seen more often than not lately, is where your circumstance could change in a heartbeat. I mean, I've just seen, in my own life, when it's happened to me, sometimes when you're in it, you're not present in that moment to see that 1 minute you were this way and now you're this way. However, I'm an observer. So I see people's lives being changed in an instant, right? Even though the work has been put in for years and years. And so we just appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing your story. We appreciate you telling us about Young Investors. And as you guys know, all the information to support Young Investors Group here and its missions and initiatives is going to be below, as well as your ability to donate, because it is a nonprofit. We interview nonprofit leaders around here, so please get them a few little coins.
It's coins or a lot of coins. Or put us in your estate. Leave us a little something.
Send them something.
Give it to your kids and your family, but if you ain't got them, Young Investors Group be your family. Okay.
Yes. And then I'd be remiss. Now, wait a minute. Then we got to talk about Parents Out the Mud. So make sure that information is going to be below. But I can't, on our last note, I got to talk about it.
Talk about it.
The Virginia Beard Festival. Talk about it. Let me sit back for this one. Talk about the Virginia Beard.
You ready?
Hey.
Yo. Hello.
Yeah.
Guys, you gotta get plugged in to Virginia Beard Festival, where we celebrate melanated men and the women that love them. And this is one woman here that loved them.
I do. And I do.
Melanated men with beards and the women that love them. And so I'm excited about November 10th. We are going to have a fantastic calendar release party. Back in August, these 8 beautiful men decided to go on a stroll to downtown Norfolk and all of the art district in Norfolk and take beautiful photos. And those photos are going to be in your 2025 calendar so that every month you can be inspired.
Yes.
To celebrate melanated men with beards and the women that love them. So don't forget to get your tickets. Eventbrite's coming soon. Go to the website, virginiabeardfestival.com.
Okay. Absolutely.
Go to Instagram.
How long have you been doing the Beard Festival?
Virginia Beard Festival has been in existence since 2017. In fact, 2027 is going to be our 10-year anniversary. So y'all need to go ahead and connect, because in 3 years, really 2 years, because we are already in 2025, you'll get a chance to celebrate 10 years with Virginia Beard Festival. So yeah.
That is so super, super dope. What made you decide to do that?
I was looking for mentors for Black boys, because I was like out here seeing all the gang stuff happen and having flashbacks and getting triggered. And so I was like, let me find some Black men to mentor these boys. Well, I couldn't find none, so I said, me and my girl Lita, we going to all these day parties and we see lots of melanated Black men. We were like, oh, this is where they at. So maybe to create something where I can bring men together, and then I can charge them with saying, hey, I got some young people over here.
Yes. I never knew.
Yes, honey. And I said, look, and for the ones that don't got the time, baby, that drink and that party that you like to go to, we're going to take your money. We're going to give it to these young boys. And we're going to give them experiences that you don't necessarily have the time. Because I ain't going to lie to you, Tierra. The men out here, they out here taking care of the families. They out here working 2 and 3 jobs. They out here hustling. They don't really be having time to mentor our young Black boys. So I said, bet, you ain't got the time. Let me take your money and let me create experiences. So at least they're well-rounded and exposed to something. And so once I started getting deep involved with Virginia Beard Festival, I think like year 5, I started really being introduced to like men that really do care about young men, and I started finding those mentors that I can connect the young people with.
That is super, super, super dope. That's super dope. And so I just didn't want us to close out without bringing that up.
Yes. Get your tickets. Go to Instagram.
Calendar will be releasing. So we're going to, any information that we can get about that calendar, because we know that you're watching all over the world. So any way that I can get that information, and you can check back when the link is updated for Virginia Beard Fest. I'll also put it on the community page. So if you're here locally in the Hampton Roads area and you want to attend the Virginia Beard Festival, of course, grab your tickets. If you're out of the area, be checking on our community page for that calendar and that Coyote Ugly picture of Keyzia when she was, dancing on the bar. So thank you so much, Flawless Family.
That'll do it. Listen, that'll do it every time. But look, and if you are not in this area, you can join in our Beards in Business. So it does not matter if you're not in this area. If you are a bearded man in business and you want to give back to the community, you can join our Beards in Business community and still do the thing.
No, that sounds so dope. And I'm just so proud of you for everything you've done, all that you overcome, all that you do for this community and these youth, girl. You are an amazing person. I love you and I appreciate you for coming on. You guys, thank you so much for watching till the end of this another amazing episode of Flawless Living Made Simple. And this lady right here, that's a true winning mindset. I'm honored that you came on, and I thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Flawless Living Made Simple. Bye.